So you might be wondering, how does passion and purpose lead to increased income, influence, and impact? I'm Julie Elstrup, the Leadership Accelerator for Women, and I've got some exciting and really good news for you today. So I help women who are corporate leaders, who are entrepreneurs, who really want to reach the next level. Maybe you're feeling stale in the place where you are, or maybe you feel like you're experiencing that broken rung syndrome. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I want to really share with you how passion and purpose can create a life that you love, create a vision for you, and really have expansive impact, influence, and income. And I think the thing that a lot of times as women we hear, oh, income doesn't matter. Well, you know what? Income is currency, and it's the way that our culture exchanges value. So it is important, and it's important that women are paid what they're worth. There is still a massive pay gap for women. As I mentioned last week, we are still less than 7% of Fortune 500 CEOs, meaning less impact, less influence. And again, this is not about, whining. This is about great opportunity for you and for me. And I was able, when I left my school career, I was able to reach the top 1% in income in my field as a portrait photographer in about 2.5 years. And the reason I tell you that is because I have proven processes and systems in place to help you do the same. So what does passion have to do with it, and what does purpose have to do with it? I'm going to share a little bit of my journey for you. So when I left my job as a school counselor, I'd been there almost 20 years. I loved the work that I did. I loved being able to help students and their families navigate through really hard things, help students get into college, and I felt like I was really making an impact. And then it just came a time when I just wasn't loving it anymore. I was bogged down by paperwork. There was a lot of, outside kind of noise that just wasn't feeling aligned with who I was. And so I left that career. I'd been in there almost 20 years. And if you're an educator, you know that there's a lot of corporate careers that are this way too, that that there are, certain incentives, certain income incentives that you receive if you stay for 20 years. But I wasn't going to do it. And I had always had, and I still do have, a passion for photography, but I didn't know how that could translate to making a difference or having an impact. And I started photographing women. And when I started photographing women, I realized that there are so many women, and I talk about this in my TED Talk, so many women that say they hate the way they look in photographs. They hate the way they see themselves. And we changed that. Now I'm gonna get into that a little bit more. I want to share with you that I do have a transformational leadership workshop coming up on March 22nd. It is for 2.5 days. You are invited. The link is below. Please take a look. If you think you can make it, it would be great to have you here. We have a really limited number of spots. We're in Northern Colorado, and it is going to be an amazing group of women, and we're going to go through those 5 points on the leadership star. Passion, purpose, and vision is the first. Building courage and confidence through trust, communication, decisive action, and continuous learning. So there's a huge gap right now. A recent Fortune survey said that only 7% of CEOs think that their leadership pipeline is really effective. And only 25% of employees who responded to the State of Employment, State of Organization report by McKinsey, only 25% said that they think that their leadership is inspiring. So that's a great opportunity for us right now, right? There are very few women in the highest roles in leadership, and the leadership knob really needs to be turned up. And I've got success strategies and proven practices. So I've also still got the link here for the February learning about what you love and what lights you up and your passion and your purpose. So I started photographing women, and I started really noticing for myself the part that I loved the most was the transformation, the women who came in and completely changed the way they saw themselves. Now, I believe that when we change ourselves, when we change the way we see ourselves, we change the way we see the world. And the reason for that is because we realize that we have this beautiful light. We have so much to offer. And it changes lives. I also realize, and so for me, that has led me on this journey to really expand and to offer more for my clients, to offer workshops and coaching and consulting to really get you to that top 1%. What does that look like for you? It's different for everybody, and that's good. That's a great thing. Because we as women, if we're going to have more impact, more influence, and more income, we start with that passion, purpose, and vision. And so I'm excited to share that with you today, share a little bit of my story, and share how you can do that. I'd love to hear how your brilliance, starting with your brilliance, leading and living with love workshop is going, or workbook. Please feel free to leave something in the comments about your experience with that, what it looks like for you, how it feels like for you to really take some time and say, yeah, this is what I love and this is how I want to move forward. You know, we're still kind of in the winter here in February, and it's a time to look at like what lights us up, what fuels our fire. And for me, like I said, it was really the transformation. The photography is part of it. If you've heard me say this before, you'll know nearly 90% of everything that our brain processes in any given moment is visual. And so, you know, when we see ourselves as that person, literally through the lens of love, through someone else's lens, it can change everything for us. But I also know that there is more depth and more breadth that we can look at to make us more effective, have more impact, more influence, and more income through my 5-pointed star system. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please give us a like, subscribe, share with somebody, and I'd love to know in the comments how it's going for you, how you're finding your purpose and your passion, so we can build a community here where all women rise. And here's the thing, when we rise, everybody rises. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Julie Elstrup, the Leadership Accelerator for Women.